Hello everybody, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Siegfried Schott, I'm Technical Director here at CR Experts, and today we are going to talk about how we can make your software 3D enabled by integrating UniversalPlantViewer. As always, this session will be recorded and we will provide you the link to the recording in an email within the next few days. And at any time during the webinar, feel free to use the chat panel to ask any questions, and I will try to answer as much as possible after the session, and at least I try to answer them by mail. Okay, let's have a look on the agenda. So we will talk about why you should consider integrating UPV into your software. I will show you 3 different ways of integrating UPV into your software. We will have a short overview on the most important commands that we offer via our API. We will talk about the sample frameworks, and not at the end, but while I'm running through the other points, I will give you some examples of integration. And at the end, I will answer your questions. Okay, so why should you consider using a 3D model? And let me start with a very simple example. If your brother sends you this, you might be left a little bit clueless because you do not know where that position is. But if you receive this, it's absolutely clear where you and your brother will meet. So just by visualizing information, you make things more clear. Let me give you another sample, and that's more technically. If you want to install that injection package today, and you want to know if everything on the pipe bridge is ready so you can connect your pipelines, one way you might do a report and then try to figure out which lines connects to what line, or you just visualize it inside your 3D model, and immediately you will recognize that the pipe you are trying to connect to is still not installed. So you better not start installing the injection package today. So just making things visually. Okay, and what are the different ways of integration? So there are 3 ways. Let's start with the first one, the deep linking. Here, let me show you the live sample. So here is a live viewer. And what I do now is I click on that hyperlink, and you see UPV directly navigates to that equipment. It's the W301, so it's working perfect. And if I hover over this, you see that small pop-up that shows the hyperlink, but I've written it down here on the bottom so you can see it better. And it consists of 4 parts. So first is the command identifier. It's just like HTTP always brings you to some website, while UPV API brings you to UniversalPlantViewer. So that's just the command identifier. Then we have the address of the model. So that's our demo model hosted on a web server. Then the affected objects. In this case, I only have 1. I can have multiple. I can have combinations of conditions so that I only address 1 nozzle of an equipment. So all is possible. And then I have some commands. In my case, it's just select and fit. There are a lot of other possibilities. Let me just show you that Excel list. That there are just a lot more functions, like if I pick, let's say, this one, then it zooms to that equipment and clips it with a radius of 15 meters. So that's my equipment, and that's clipping around with a radius of 15 meters. Or one thing I think it's a cool function, and that's the search fallback command. So this command is quite similar to the one I showed in the beginning. If I click on it, it just navigates to an equipment. In this case, it's that stack. But what if the name is not written correctly, or either in your search criteria or in the model? So, and to visualize this, I just removed the dash in between the name here. And if I click on it, the search fallback command because the equipment was not found, automatically triggers a search with the parameter you handed over. And here you see it already found something with a name, and I click on it, and again we find our equipment. Even if the name is not exactly the same, because we have a soft search that also finds nearby matches. So consider use the search fallback option. It makes life for your users much easier. Okay, so let's close this and let's close the Excel sheet. And what are the advantages of deep linking? It's very easy to set up, so everybody can use it. You don't need any programming skills in the Excel file. I just need a simple formula to generate tons of links. And it works with all software supporting URL links. So that can be Office software like I used. It can be document management systems. We have even clients that during model generation write those links to an SAP database. So directly from SAP, everybody can navigate to the model and see the assets. What are the downsides? So deep linking has limited capabilities. One of the biggest is there is no back channel. So it's only firing commands in the direction of UPV, and that's it. And it works only with a local installation of UniversalPlantViewer. And that's not true, because we are currently working on a small software you can install on any computer, and then it will also work with the browser-based viewing. Let's go back and click here again. And now you see the browser-based viewing opens up. I have to log in. And voila, I'm at my equipment. It's the W301 that we have on our link. And now it's running fully in a browser, so you don't need any installation of UPV on your computer, only that small wrapper software that tells the system what to do with the UPV APIs link. Okay, so that will be released soon. I think it will be this year. Okay, let's go to the next type of integration. And here you really integrate UniversalPlantViewer into another piece of software. So it acts as a control inside another software. So I can demonstrate this with the 4D system. That's our software that allows you to connect Oracle Primavera with UPV. So let's fully expand this. You all know that those Gantt charts where you do your project planning and the scheduling for erection. And if you want to know, so the project starts at the 2nd of March. If you want to know which elements are already built, let's say on the 11th, you can go in and then look what's already planned here, or you can just select everything here, go to the start date of the project. So at the start date, nothing is built, and then we pick the 11th here to see what's planned or done at that date. So, and you see the steelwork is already done, and those stairs are in blue, and blue means it's an active task. So those are the stairs from the 1st to the 2nd floor, and they are currently active, and that's why they are blue. And from here, we can simply press on play, and we see the steps that coming step by step. And the data here is really directly coming out of Oracle Primavera. So it uses the Primavera web services to grab the data out of Primavera and visualize it right into UPV. And the communication is fully done by the software in the background. So it's fully integrated here into that piece of software. And also, if you like to know that pipeline, where is it in the model, you can just select that pipeline in your schedule, click here on select, and it brings you to that piece of pipeline. and you can exactly see where it is in the 3D model. So this is a sample of really directly integrating UPV into a Windows software. Okay, let's close this. And so advantages, you have really enhanced capabilities. So you can fully control UPV from your software. You see, I didn't even press any button inside UPV. Everything was driven by the Windows software. And there is a back channel available. So I can query attributes from the selected elements. I can get the current view, etc. So all this is possible by directly integrating UPV into Windows software. There is a little bit of downside, so this needs to be done by a software development department. So you surely will need programming skills to do this integration. And unfortunately, it does only work on Windows devices because mobile devices like iOS or Android have an operating system that is really hard to integrate other software into and surrounding software. So therefore, we only can offer this for Windows. Okay, and that brings us to the third and last possibility to integrate UPV. And that is if you have any web-enabled software or a simple website, you can directly embed UPV into your website. So I try to visualize it here. So the green surrounding shows the website. And inside there is a frame, and that includes UPV into that website. So it's UPV now is just like a control inside a website. And let me show you this. I open it up. And you can see I can change the size of UPV. And my website offers some controls. And in this sample, we connect to the Oracle Primavera Unifier database in the background. So there is an API for that. And we use this to query data out of Primavera Unifier. And again, visualize it inside UPV. So if I click on all, it queries the construction state and visualizes it by colors inside UPV. So just by one button click, that information is not held in UPV. It really queries the Oracle Unifier database, brings the data into my website. So I can also do it the other way around. So I can, for example, select 3 equipments and a pipeline and create an RFI for this. I can give it a title. So I don't want to crowd my database. Therefore, I just show you that I can query the selected object. So it's one pipeline, 3 pieces of equipment. And so you see it's no fake. I select different equipments and a different pipeline, and it shows me the name of that equipment and the pipelines. So I can really query data out of UPV and then do things in the background. Or if I select that equipment, I can download data, attach documents from Unifier and open it up here inside the browser. And I see the arrangement drawing for that equipment. So all of this is simply possible by integrating UPV into a website. Okay, and while we have that sample open, let me show you another thing, and that is work order planning. So let's concentrate on that platform here. And we have clients doing work order planning and visualizing this inside UPV. And here we just have a timeline, and if I click here, that's where welding starts. And so there's welding work ongoing on top of that platform. If we go to the next step, we see that insulation work is starting at the blue area. And at that point, you immediately see you should not allow this, because you should not allow people working below an area where welding work is going on. So it's really easy to see that there is a safety issue by just looking on the planning. You see, okay, this is not possibly. Having only looked at the data, you wouldn't recognize this. You would only see some work orders, but not that those are issued for an area where you should not allow to work for people. So easy to see by just visualizing it. Okay, so let's close this and let me show, or let's talk about the advantages. So for the integration into a website, again, you have the full capabilities of our API, can fully control UPV. You have a back channel. I showed you that I could query the names of the equipment, but it runs with all attributes. You can get view states. You have zero footprint. So if you integrate it into a website, locally, you don't need to install anything. It just runs out of the box in a browser. Even big models will open up immediately, and that is through to how browser-based viewing works and what possibility it offers. So you just click on a model, and regardless of the size, in 2 seconds you are in that model and you can work with that model. And it works on all browsers, on Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari. It works Windows, iOS, Android. We even tested it on a Mac and it works perfect. Only one exception, don't use Internet Explorer. This is not supported. But beside that, everything works. And again, the downside is it needs to be done by a software development, by people that have programming skills and know how to integrate this into a website. Okay, here a rough overview on the available commands. So it's 4 different groups of commands. So the object commands, that's what I showed and that's what you mostly will use. It's just by identifying one or multiple objects, you can fit to those objects, you can highlight it, you can set the visibility, so switch them on or off. You can change the color of objects, so all the standard commands you will expect from such an API. You can do clipping commands, or IntelliClipping, so clipping along a pipeline. And you can set an optional range, so to include objects that are around your selected objects. I showed you the search fallback, so that's a cool function that makes life so much easier. And another set of commands is the view-related commands, so you can set the visible aspect. So if you want to see insulation or not, you can set the camera view, so looking on specific objects. You can even take and save screenshots just by an API command. Things like that all are view-related. We have advanced commands, so you can load a configuration files to have different configurations. You can even reorganize the tree by just sending an API command. And the last group of commands, and those are not working with deep linking, those are the commands, and that's why that error is going out, that query data out of UPV. So it's, for example, get the current camera position, query what objects are currently selected, getting the bounding boxes of those objects to get the spatial information, getting object attributes. So all of the attributes that exist inside UPV, you can just get by those commands. Okay, sample frameworks. That's another topic. How to start with software development, and here we try to help you as best as we can, and the easiest way is to just deliver you a programming sample. So here, that's our programming sample for Windows. It's not nice because it's intended to be used by software developers. It doesn't have to be nice. It needs to be easy to understand. So we will deliver you that software and the source code. And here you can test the first commands and look how we do it in source code and then replicate it in your software. So let me just give you a sample. Let's just colorize all of the equipments in a green color. So I do a green color, and you see it's the software code for green. So you need to be a software developer. I send a color command, and you see all equipments are turning green, and I get a message back that everything is okay. If I just type in green and send it, it tells me that it's not okay, and it expects a color in the software code for a color. So as easy as that. And we will deliver you the source code. And here you see most of the commands available. So you can directly test it here and then look into the source code, how we do it, and then replicate it. And the same is available for the browser-based viewing. So let me go in here. I log in. So the model opens up. And in the end, you see the same thing on the right side. So let me replicate this. So I just steal it here. So that's my condition. So task equals equipment. I again choose green color, select the color command and fire it. And you see all equipment is turning green and there is a success message. And here you see 3D, and that's I always forget to mention this, but what I showed you will also work for sure with IntelliPit. So if I switch here to IntelliPit and do a different condition, so let's say I use the pipe run fluid code. So I copy this, paste it here, and make it this way, and I click on run. All pipelines with a fluid code of S will be colored in green. Isn't that cool? I think that's really great functionality to have PNIDs colorized. Also, querying data will work same way as in 3D. So all of the commands I showed you for 3D, you can also issue on PNIDs. Okay, so let's close this and come to the conclusion. So why should you consider to integrate UPV into your software? So when you want to make your data visible in 3D, when you want to understand complex information in a very easy way, when you want to identify spatial relationships, remember that work order sample I showed you. So it's easy to recognize things that happen at specific positions. And in the end, if you want to get the best value out of your data.